Tuesday, we will be discussing the BidBuy version 16 upgrade. Our BidBuy monthly training, which is the second Wednesday of each month, will be tomorrow, Wednesday, June 9th. And then we're going to talk about a new offering that we're going to a training opportunity for you guys called BidBuy Practice Sessions, which is what we're going to do is the day after our BidBuy monthly training, we're going to allow, we're going to have a session to a little more informal and allow people to come in and just practice and share some screens and have a little more of an informal training concerning BidBuy. Then our fun fact of the day and our quote of the day. So first up, no, let me go back, is version 16, BidBuy version 16. It's not going to be a big change, but BidBuy will be down shortly at 9 p.m. this Friday night, June 11th, as they do the upgrade to BidBuy version 16. Now there aren't going to be as many changes as we had previously seen in some of the last upgrades that we've had, but as we discussed a few months ago, these upgrades will be occurring quarterly. And we'll always let you know when they're happening, of course. But really, the big difference with this one is the home screen is just going to look a little different. And I'm going to walk through some of the other changes that have been added, some of the little bug fixes and that sort of thing. But just so you know, there is no big change in workflow. None of the job aids are changing, none of that sort of stuff. But it really is, the big change is just the home screen. So when you sign in after Friday night, whether that's Monday morning or whenever, you'll see the home screen look a little differently. So let's go out and just take a look at it real quickly. This is what the home screen is going to look like. You can see up in the right hand corner, you'll still have your sign in, and you would sign in the same way that you normally would. But the big difference is just the home screen is just going to look a little different. Now this picture that you see there of the beautiful lighthouse and the ocean, that doesn't necessarily scream Illinois and Midwest, so you will probably see a new picture there. But let me just scroll down and so you guys can see what it's going to look like. You can see where the supplier activities, there's a link here, public bulletins, important links. As you scroll down, you can see some of the same information. At this point, this is just in our testing environment, so this might be reconfigured just a little bit, but some of the same links will still be there. Now at the bottom, you still be able to complete registration. You have your open bids from a vendor standpoint. That still looks very similar. It's slightly different in that you don't have those large groupings of those categories where you could kind of search by that. You have the advanced search availability. So this is more from a vendor standpoint, but we know that this happens quite a bit where you don't even necessarily need to be logged in order to see what is out there. Okay, so you have that advanced search which is available for you without being logged in, active blanket search, contract and bid search. So if you click on that, and then again you click bids, or if you're looking for your contracts or blankets. So that is all still kind of functioning the same way. Your registered vendor search, you can search for your vendors that way. Now the one difference that you might have immediately seen from the very beginning is it does not have the search box at the top of the home screen. So if you remember, currently there's a search box at the top, and then you click to the right and there's a little drop box that has vendors and bid solicitations. That has just been moved down to the supplier activity section. So now you can get into the direct advanced search for the contract and bid search or searching for your vendors directly without using that drop down first. So not a lot of big changes there, but you will see that home screen look a little bit differently. Now let's walk through some of the other differences. And just as a reminder, remember at 9 p.m. The system will be down shortly this Friday night. So let's walk through just a few of the enhancements and a few of the bug fixes. I know for some of you, this really kind of gets down into the weeds a little bit, so I'm not going to do a deep dive, but I do want to let you know a couple of things that are changing. So first up, Changes to a couple labels from MBPO, which means Master Blanket Purchase Order, / contract, just making it more consistent across the board for all screens. So some labels were changed to be more consistent with field names across all screens. The next enhancement is that new graphics page. Like I said, the lighthouse and the ocean and the cliffside water almost looks like a painting. That's going to be changed. It will be something that's going to be more Illinois centric, but that's not updated just yet. So that will be something you will see. Let's see. Next up, the enhancements. As an agency user, when approving, commodity codes will appear on the screen. Logic has been added for saving at different levels. So you're going to see those commodity codes on the screen when you're approving, which will be nice. Next up, an issue, a bug, some password reset emails were not being received. And so as an agency or a vendor user, the / character was not accepted for password generation. This character is no longer generated. Um, and Reggie, I don't think anybody wants to see a picture of me. No thanks, unless you get my good side. Um, another bug, some reset password returns, or the reset password was returning a blank screen. And so now that when you use that login assistance, that issue's been resolved to make the home page the correct landing place. So as you see, no big changes, just little things here and there, but we want to make sure you guys are aware of them. Another enhancement, you can now view all locked documents and unlock the individual documents by their doc IDs or numbers. This is going to be only for agency admin. This is something that when you had locked documents in the past, they were very few and far between, but it would happen every once in a while, and the state user would have to unlock that. So I'm going to do a little more of a deep dive and understand that, and maybe circle back to that next week. And so that might be something that we can discuss, but that's specifically for agency administrators. So probably not applicable to a lot of people on this call today, but it is something that's going to allow agencies to unlock those documents, which will be great. The search query performance has been enhanced in the top navigation search. So that searchable function in the that search bar at the top wasn't necessarily as performing as well as it could, and so they updated the performance of that. Requisition export upload updates to match the way the PO works. So as an agency user on the requisition, you can now import or export the CSV file format. We have another question. Are the NIGP codes on the approval screen drawn from the item level or those chosen from the bidders tab? I'm going to go out on a limb here. I don't know I will double check. I would be almost positive that it's at the item level. We'll see if we get an answer on that. Oh, and Randy did just responded. Yep, item level. Okay, so let's see, next up, so we can do the import export at the requisition using the CSV format. And next up, remove the word contract from the PO type. You know, when you select your PO type, we just removed contract just because that's a functionality in the system we just don't use. We use open market or blanket POs. So the contract is now going to be gone. And another question. Is there a recommended format to do the upload? Not necessarily. I think in the past there were in different at the requisition versus the PO or at the bid from a vendor standpoint, the export and upload version there could be issues, and so the CSV format sometimes needed to be formatted through Excel. And now you can upload using the CSV format. Just makes things a little easier from a formatting standpoint. Let's see, next up, fiscal year roll dates are based off current date and not the fiscal year start and end dates. So fix this issue with the new multi-year fiscal period, roll periods where fiscal year dates did not appear as expected. And then finally, we have added a comma to the external advanced search tool spend to date column for formatting purposes to make numbers more readable. For example, the previous number displaying, you see all the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 now displays with the comma for $123,000. Just makes it a little bit easier for the formatting of that spend to date column. Let's see. Will the update to the approval path allow for the type code to be displayed to clarify the selected approval path for review? Well, the type code. So for the type code, I'm wondering if you're asking, meaning the type code like the procurement method, which that's there anyway. Maybe if you could give me some additional clarification there, or send me another email so I know what you're talking about there. And then from Randy, this change was brought about because the same format was used for bids and PO. However, the requisition was an outdated upload document, so they updated. Oh, I'm moving here. So they updated that to now match the same format for all. Thank you, Randy. Is the multi-year fiscal period going to allow for interfacing of previous fiscal year POs without intervention from state user? That's a good question, Mary. I'm gonna have to save that and respond to you separately. Oh, Randy's saying, no, Mary, it will not. Those will still have to have internal admins help. And then, like Randy said, type codes don't trigger approval paths. It's dollar amounts, NIGP codes, as well as accounting. So for Veronica's question, if that answered you, we don't need to follow up with that. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. The general service, commodities and equipment, or facilities. You're right. The type code from the requisition is different. Type code at bid and PO is the procurement method. I see what you're saying there, Veronica. But no, that will not. I mean, you'd still be able to see it on that same. It's just not being added because it's already there. And then, can we load the material master numbers into the items tab in the rec? And you know what? Randy's just the MVP today. I'm going to go on break. Thanks, Randy. All right, so those are the upgrades. Remember, Friday night at 9 p.m. The system will be down shortly to make that upgrade, and then when you go in after that, you'll see a brand new home screen. All right, so tomorrow we have our monthly BidBuy training. The format is going to be the same as it has been in the past. Nothing's really changing. This is perfect for new users for sure, but also if anybody needs a refresher, feel free. The link is there. You don't need to be registered. However, we will ask you at the beginning of each session just to put in the chat what agency you're from. This occurs the second Wednesday of every month. We have the agenda here. We have 4 different sessions. We'd love for you to be there for all 4 sessions, but we understand if you cannot. If you are a brand new user, though, you do need to attend all 4 sessions. Okay. However, if you're coming in for a refresher and you just want to go over a small purchase over $10,000, jump right on in at 1 p.m. and we'll go through that. It is the same link for the entire day. I just leave it open so that way you don't have to leave and come back if you don't want to. Certainly you can. And here's all the information there. And next up is our we're going to provide a new optional training for BidBuy users, and we're going to call it BidBuy practice sessions. So in the past, so a couple years ago, whenever we would be doing these trainings live in person, you guys would all be at we'd be in a computer lab together, and we'd be walking through examples together. And so as you would go through them, you would have those questions, and we'd have a couple people in the room that could look over your shoulder and help you walk through those examples. We want to emulate that same sort of thing. It's just when we did the training, now we do the training remotely, we keep it a little bit more compact in that I walk through the examples and I show how to walk through those. We use the job aids for each one of those procurement methods, but there isn't necessarily time for you to work on your own. And so we've taken feedback from past practices and from you guys as well, and we wanted to provide another option for you to practice and still have the training and still have a trainer there to answer any of your questions. Um, but we're not going to do it as a part of that day-long training because for some people we received feedback that no, I'd rather just watch you do it and then I'll go work on my own. And then we have some people that said no, I think it'd be great to be able to um, do it on that same day. So what we're going to do is the day immediately following um, the Thursday immediately following, we're going to be offering a practice session. So it will be the second Thursday of every month from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. This is a bit of a pilot program. We may need to adjust times or may need to adjust offerings for when and how often we do this as well. So we're just going to kind of see how it goes this first time around and make a decision from there. So the second Thursday of each month at 9 a.m. And what we'll be doing is we're going to walk through those examples, and it's just going to allow you guys to be able to walk through specific examples. We'll give you some options depending on whoever is there that particular time. So maybe if somebody wants to do a small purchase with emergency conditions or a small purchase with sole source conditions, we can walk through a specific example and we can provide you with some of those examples for you to walk through. So it immediately gives you some hands-on experience because like I always say in my trainings, it's easy to watch somebody else walk through BidBuy, but until you really dig in and do it yourself, that's when you kind of have those questions, and that's when you can get a lot out of those trainings. So we want to immediately do it the next day. I know it's going to be a little bit more informal um, and collaborative. So we want to allow for more specific questions once you've attended the monthly training. So on Wednesday, you go in, you attend a training. Maybe as you're thinking about it, um, you think about it later that day or the next morning or something. You have other questions and we can immediately address those. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not asking questions while I'm going through the original training. That's we of course we want the Q&A there. So that isn't training or that isn't changing anything. Those monthly trainings are going to be exactly the way they have been. So if you've joined us in the last year, expect the same sort of format and everything. But we don't want you to hold on to questions until the next day. I mean, go ahead and ask your questions. That's what we want. But at the same time, we also recognize that you may not realize you have a question until you actually go in and start to work through some of those examples. So that's what this is going to be about. So this is really just providing an additional opportunity to practice and then to be able to ask questions. And a final note here, you do not have to attend the monthly training immediately prior to attend the practice sessions. So if you joined us last month on BidBuy or in previous months for the full monthly training, feel free to join us on the BidBuy practice sessions. Absolutely, that's totally fine. I would discourage you from attending Thursday practice sessions if you've never attended BidBuy. I think you might just be a little bit lost. So the practice sessions will just be layering on another level of training and, like I said, an opportunity to practice in our training environment. And then here is the website for that. I will send an email out to SPOs and APOs so that way this can kind of get filtered out. But of course, that website or the link will be um, on the slides that will be posted the way we normally do later on today. And speaking of that, the link where they will be posted is the Training Tuesdays page right here. This is kind of the standard slide I keep up here. Where can I find Training Tuesday and BidBuy Training links? Here it is. Here's a CPOGS website. You go to Training Tuesdays. You can also you click on the Training Center on the right-hand side, or the calendar of events. So the calendar of events has the BidBuy Training link as well as the Training Tuesdays. But also, if you want to go back and take a look at any past Training Tuesdays, that the link is here, or you can find it via the CPOGS website. All right, so our fun fact of the day. The Four Corners is the only spot in the U.S. where you can stand in 4 states at once: Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. It's pretty cool. I've been there. It's kind of surreal, where you can kind of stand in Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico all at once. And then our quote of the day: he or she who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. That's Friedrich Nietzsche. All right, everybody, it's been recorded. It'll be posted shortly, as well as the slides. Uh, we'll see you maybe on the BidBuy training tomorrow and or on Thursday. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.